times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could mold you into someone who could cherish me as much as I cherish you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Every Friday with Dan and Olivia. I'm Olivia Darbo.
I'm pretty sure I'm Dan Miles.
And I'm...
Tom Whenever.
Sorry, I couldn't leave the sounder alone. I missed it.
Yeah, but that's okay because this particular whenever happens to be right up front, right and center. And I'm so happy you guys are both with me here for these responses to my questions. This is going to be very exciting. We're going to start with the male responses to the question that I asked, which I'm assuming everybody knows what it was.
Oh, let's remind them anyway.
Let's remind them.
The question, the way I remember it, is which is more important to a woman, to be cherished or to be respected?
Yeah. So we're going to start with our first answer, which is by Alan Sosa. And his answer is, I would say a woman would want to feel respected, to know that her opinion matters and that she is valued. Just my impression. I would have to agree with you on that one, Alan. I think... And we're going to go to the next one. Blaine Broman says that I feel unqualified to answer this as I'm not a woman and I'm sure that there's no correct answer. But a this or that type of question is unfair when relating to the human experience. I'd say respected is more important, but it matters that the relationship is at different times. I sway between wanting to be cherished or wanting to be respected. I assume that others, men and women, bounce back and forth the same way I do. For instance, you can respect another human, man or woman, without liking them. Much less cherishing them.
Interesting.
But I don't think that it's possible in my little corner of the universe to cherish someone without having a decent level of respect. But still, it isn't one or another, in my opinion.
That's an interesting point, though. He says you don't even have to like someone to respect them. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, but
that's a good point.
That was the most polite question breaking I've ever heard. Did we mention up front that we're actually doing all of the male answers first?
Yeah, we're doing all of the male ones
Right.
first. So
Okay.
that's if we hadn't already mentioned that, it's probably good that we mention it at this particular point in time. So it's also good to know that we do have female responses to these questions, because I'm sure that comparatively they'll be very different. Maybe not, but we'll see. Bob Wilson is the next person who answered this question, and he says that women all say respected, but they really want to be cherished. Passion burns. Oh, and so it does, Bob.
He says they say one thing, but they want something else. How do you feel about that as a woman? A man telling you what you really think and what you really want and what you really say, not all being the same.
You know what? This is a question, funnily enough, that comes from a woman who is out there right now generating a lot of... her name is Pat Mahali, and she's out there sort of trying to really help women conquer what's going on between the yin and the yang in relationships right now, and how women need to be, if they want to be in their feminine goddess energy, what components are female and what are male. And so she's sort of a guru to women. She's not necessarily my guru, but I have to be honest in saying, you know, it was a question that I wanted to kind of put out there, but it actually doesn't stem from me. So I'm sort of making my mind up as I go as I go about reading these answers, and I don't know yet, but I'm sort of still on the fence about it.
You're crowdsourcing your worldview there.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go on to Brian Booty. Okay.
Bouquet!
Yeah, but Brian, I know you want to get some booty, so let's see how you answer the question. Okay, Brian. You say both. You can't have one without the other. Okay. You know what? I don't disagree. I do not disagree at all with that. What do you guys think?
You can't have one without the other. Let's see, cherish and respect. Can you have respect without cherish? I think someone else just said you could. You could respect someone.
So
you
it's all
didn't cherish.
subjective.
Pretty much, but it's interesting to see how men and women respond and who picks which, and also really what the word means to different people. We need to, and it's also interesting you saying at the outset that your mind isn't made up, because it's going to be interesting to see how these 60 listeners influence you. Because I'll be honest, I saw the answers ahead of time, obviously, and it influenced me. You know, and
Did it? How did it influence you?
Well, we'll get to that at the end when I'm second to the last person.
Well, I'm not going to
say.
let you forget that little thing that you just.
I shall not.
That little cat that you let out of the bag. Okay, we're going to go to Chris Jackson, and he says, I think that most women would answer respected, but I think cherished is not more but equal. I feel many men and women pretend that they want to live in a truly 2016 world, but most also still love a bit of 1956. Not oppression, but the counting the romance that came with that time. In my opinion, both are equally good. You know what? I completely agree with you with the whole 1956 thing. I think, there's components about the 2016 approach to relationships which I like, and some that I absolutely can't stand. I think it's really a toss-up on both sides, in terms of how many I like and how many I don't like.
His point about a touch of the 50s is interesting.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with a touch of the 50s as long as it doesn't lean too intensely on expecting the wife to have your Jack and Coke as soon as you walk in the door, and the dinner completely ready.
I'm sure that's why he said
the table.
A bit of 1956.
Exactly.
He knew which bit.
Yes, courting and romance.
Chris is a foodie, and so I'm surprised he didn't put that in terms of just a soupçon of 1956, a sprinkling. Yes, a pinch.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to Chris Robley. Cherishing has always seemed kind of paternalistic to me when you're talking straight guy-girl relationships. So I think respect is way more important. Without respect as the foundation, cherishing won't be enough to hold things together when the shit gets real. Okay.
And speaking of cherishing and respecting, we should mention we opened this with Cherish by David Cassidy, your co-star from Spirit of 76, and Aretha. Never mind anything. I think we know who wins the song battle. So, but yeah, respect. Paternalistic is interesting too.
I know. Yeah. Why do you think it's interesting?
He's implying that there's sort of an inequality.
Well, I think definitely when things do get real and the shit does hit the fan, so to speak, you definitely, maybe the cherishing thing falls a little bit more by the wayside, and the respect thing is the thing that's more valued, because ultimately I think the respect thing is honoring someone. I think that's really maybe a more important word that should be stressed.
You mentioned honoring. Let's put honoring versus objectifying, because maybe what he's saying is that cherishing involves objectifying someone, and honoring, like you said, involves respecting someone. So we'll see.
And CJ Vanston says that I can respect someone I don't cherish, but I can't cherish someone I don't respect. So that's definitely the one that you chose. I like that.
Some people are decisive like that. They're like, no question about it. This one.
And David Norris says, those are both great qualities that come from a man. I'm not a woman, but I can only imagine that respect is forthright, because with true respect comes cherishability.
I think he might have made that word up, cherishability. I respect him.
Cherishability.
I respect him for making that word up.
You have this cherishability that just slays me, baby. It just slays me right where it hurts. Your cherishability. I'm certainly not poking fun at you. I actually think I like what you're saying. I'm not a woman, but I can only imagine that respect is forthright, because with true respect comes the ability to cherish someone. So, yeah, I like the way that you've inverted that. Let's go to Don Brightup. This is like asking, which do you prefer, yin or yang? You absolutely positively must have them both. I would argue that respecting and cherishing are independent, or at least that their Venn diagrams overlap substantially.
The Venn diagrams are the ones where they intersect, and then, the things that line up. He had to go get, with his Canadian education, he had to bring up Venn diagrams.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, a Venn diagram would be like, let's say you put...
May I? I?
Please do.
In this corner, we have a beaver. In this corner, we have a duck. Blend them together, and you get the platypus.
The platypus is where the lines intersect.
That's what a Venn diagram is.
Okay.
Or, in this circle, you have a guitar. In this circle, you have a keyboard. In the middle, you get a keytar.
I see.
So he's
I
saying
see.
the Venn diagram for cherish and respect overlap substantially.
I see. Okay. Well, that makes sense now. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, we're going to go to Ed Wallach. Olivia, your question is great because it's the Kobayashi menu of dating questions. Star Trek reference, sorry. It's a no-win scenario. Unless you're Ed.
Speaking of making things up, Kobayashi menu I actually like better than Kobayashi Maru. Kobayashi Maru is a word only Star Trek people know. The no-win scenario. Kobayashi menu, I'm ready to trademark that right now.
Kobayashi Menu is the name of my all-Klingon tribute band.
All right, and we're actually not finished with Ed. He also continues to say, thanks to experiencing and learning from my mistakes, I know the answer. Women should be both cherished and respected with the truth. I answered your question before you asked it, so here is how I handle a no with situation with a woman from my online dating profile, which I no longer use because I met the right woman after 2 dates, which shows what good writing and being honest can do. I don't lie. Seriously, I'm not a dick, though. You're not? But I thought you were. Okay. If you ask, does my ass look fat in this? I won't say, yes, it's huge. I'll say, that's not the best I've ever seen your ass look, love. And help you find something that flatters that ass that I love. And we may have spontaneous sex while you're between pants and or skirts, but ultimately my point is that I don't want to be with someone that lies. I won't do it again.
Ed's put an awful lot of thought into this.
Ed, baby.
Ed is our professional stand-up comedian, if you recall from before.
You are just taking it to a whole other universe.
Yes, he mentioned an excerpt from his online dating profile where he'd actually answered this question before he'd heard from you. But yeah, he's basically saying, the best thing to do is just be truthful.
Yeah, but there's a way, if you're cherishing someone and respecting them, to be politically correct, so to speak, which is, what I'm saying, there's a way, and if you do love somebody and they're asked, it's about the person, the size of their bum doesn't necessarily, what I'm saying, there's an answer right there. It's like, I love you, and I think your ass looks great in those pants, whether they're skin tight or loose.
I think he's okay with sugarcoating the truth as long as the truth is under the sugar. I think people make those comments about how can this person not realize what they look like. So maybe some people have a blind spot, but you're right. When it's different if it's a stranger you see and a person you're in a relationship with, because he's right. If you just say, oh no, you look like a supermodel, and she's like, 40 pounds overweight, then he's lying. But is he sparing her feelings, et cetera, and so he's saying be truthful. But don't just say, yeah, let me help hide this area.
Absolutely.
I've never heard it put that way before, Dan, about the idea of sugarcoating the truth, which is almost always used in a negative sense,
Right.
The way you put it, well, the truth is in there. As long as the truth gets in there, that's enough. I'm like, right on. That's actually not a bad way to look at that. All right.
It's on my Kobayashi menu.
It's right there. It's right there on the dessert side. Sugar-coated truth is on the Kobayashi menu.
Nobody can
take your sugar-coated truth and your sugar-coated ass.
Nobody can say we're not having fun.
Walk on over there. Have some more cookies in the kitchen.
Good night, everybody.
Okay. We're going to go to Fletcher Roden. And his answer is, as to what women prefer, I've never known that. But I think anybody would rather be treasured than respected. Even Sun Tzu would confirm that.
But he's used the word treasured. He didn't use cherished. I guess he's using it as a synonym for cherished, saying treasured.
Yeah. I'm wondering if one out of two of those words embody more potential to have those other components that are now kind of springboarding out of this. Like,
this kind of does come down to semantics in a sense, but not really, because I think people do understand they're two different things, but they say they either need or want both present. So
interesting. This is, you guys, I'm loving your answers. They're so, they're really making me think, somewhat over pontificate about this very subject. Okay, we're going to go to Gary Gibson. And you, Gary, say, I would definitely respect a lady above all. Being cherished is part of the respect. You see, my point exactly. I feel like the word cherish could very well be embodied in the word respect rather than respect. I mean, if you had to sort of say, okay, it works the other way around as well.
But I wonder, though, if a bunch of NBA players get on the court and Michael Jordan has a great night, they respect his ability, but I don't know if they cherish him. You know what I mean? But then it's two male peers. It's not male-female thing. So this is what I meant. You know, we were talking about, it's kind of misleading and deceptive. The question seems pretty straightforward. And then as you think about it, as you read people's different takes on it, you think, gosh, you start to second guess yourself.
Yeah.
I was second and third and fourth guess myself on this.
Yeah.
Because everybody kind of has a point, and there is, you know, we'll see at the end how if a consensus forms or not. And I want to mention to everybody, too, that I handed Olivia these answers. She's never seen them before. She didn't have any prior knowledge of them.
And I texted this question as I was I was working on Code Black, and I had to run in, and he was like, quick, can you just come up with a question that...
Well, it was kind of off the cuff, yeah?
Definitely, which is why I'm regretting that's right now.
Oh, don't regret it. Hey, I'll be honest, I'm having more fun on this than I did with my Where Would You Like to Live?
Yeah, you're not on the hot seat.
That's part of the fun.
Okay, we're going to go to Gino Fratto, and you say, Gino, women respected. You just say no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't know where you're from, but I like your style.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, I clearly you're a man who knows what he wants, and you know women. You're like, women respected. And you know what? Don't have my answer quite yet, but you know, I have to say, as things go by, and these answers go by, I'm kind of feeling like I'm leaning in your mind frame as well. Okay, now we're going to go to Gil Baker. Since love and respect go hand in hand and cannot be mutually exclusive, my guess is both.
A lot of people kind of, in a way, on a certain level, they rejected the question of either or, and they've conveyed that in different ways, but those people are a minority. Most people picked one.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Houston Huddleston. I think it depends on the woman and your relationship with them, but the women that I want to know prefer respected. The women I know are the intellectual types who ultimately don't give a damn if anyone likes their dress as much as their ideas. Well put. I think I'm one of those women.
Does that mean that ideas can't be cherished?
And can't you like their dress and their ideas?
Well, hopefully you do.
Yeah,
I mean, hopefully you've got somebody who has a nice dress and some nice ideas.
He's without meaning to, he's created a sort of parallel to this thing. You know?
Well, let's go on to Jeff Garland. And Jeff says...
You feel like you're on the radio, right?
I do. From the 1940s.
Yeah, that's how we felt.
I feel like I'm at... Yeah,
Recreating Foley sound effects in the background.
That's how we felt.
Okay, Jeff Garland says cherish because I respect anyone I cherish. Yeah, another man with a very specific view, the complete antithesis of Gene Fratto, who feels the same way, however, with the other word. But I'm glad that I'm so happy to see that men are really jumping into this and wanting to give their opinion, their own personal opinion. Let's go to Jesse Solomon. And Jesse, you say, all I can say is that I respect everyone that I cherish in my life, but I don't cherish anyone that I respect.
He said, I don't cherish everyone.
Oh, everyone. Sorry about that.
I don't cherish anyone that I respect. I got your back, Jesse.
It's a bold claim.
Let me read that again. All I can say is that I respect everyone that I cherish in my life, but I don't cherish everyone that I respect.
Yeah. and that's a valid point too. You know, some people say, "Well, I respect them. I don't cherish them, but everyone I cherish, I respect." And yeah, you know, that's.
But like, you guys are really thinking about this.
Yeah, it's an insightful take on it. Yeah.
Very insightful. Okay, let's go to J.K. Northstrop. I would think that a woman would rather be respected than cherished. Wait, I get it. Trick question. Haha, good one.
He just dodged the whole thing. That's what he did. He dodged it.
All right. Thanks, J.K. We're going to go on to Joe Cazada. Very interesting name. I love it. You're saying, I think both. Being cherished leaves a woman feeling loved in the moment. Being respected makes a woman feel loved in the long run. It gives her confidence in her relationship.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I do feel ultimately being respected is really important to a woman, because so much it's the template for so many things to then come into fruition from there.
There's that, and he makes a distinction about one being more temporary or short term or in the moment, of the moment, and one being more of a, you know, having more legs, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, especially when you are going to bring boundaries into a relationship, you have to have respect. Okay, John Champion. This is the hardest one of all, since I'm not a woman and I can't answer for a woman or all women. I can only try to approach this from my own preferences. It seems like respect is the right answer. Respect is something we all want, but the question becomes respect for what? Respect for being a great business person, a great mother, father, a great humanitarian, a great musical talent. All that sounds valuable. But at the end of the day, though, if you mean cherished as simply knowing that you are loved for being who you are, not necessarily what you accomplish, then that's probably a more valuable thing to know.
So what he's done is he's making an argument on both sides. And in the beginning, he says, oh, it seems like respect is the right answer. But at the end of the day, it's probably cherished. So,
you know, it's really all subjective. I think as one of the earlier answers that we got in said that it really depends on the relationship and the people involved.
But he makes a good point. He goes, you respect her. Respect her for what? Respect her in general, or respect her being a great mother, or respect her being a great companion? I mean, do you want specifics?
Yeah, well, my specifics to that, again, I'm not the person who's really inventing this question, but I do feel like there's a lot in here as somebody who's kind of spreading what it stirs up in people, which evidently is quite a lot. And I haven't even gotten to the female questions yet, answers to this, which I think will be very different. Maybe not, who knows, we'll have to see. But for me personally, I think it's overall respect. I think if you love somebody and you respect them, it's like because she's a great mother, because she's a great businesswoman, you respect everything about them, because it's something that you, as the person that you love, you see that they have harnessed the ability to just be respected overall. And that's why
total.
Well, so that's why you want to be with them, because you kind of look at them, and I feel the same way about a man that I would want to be with, you know. It's very equal in that regard. If you know who you choose as a partner, you know, it's because it's all encompassing.
It's not a la carte for you. I respect you this and that. It's not all of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's look at how much this person tries and how they have succeeded. Their moralistic values, their principles, you know, how they show up in the world, that they treat everybody the same, that they light up a room when they walk in it, that they make people feel special about themselves, things like that. Okay, let's go to John Paluzzo. A poem by Chad Cooper. Ooh, this is going to be exciting. It's the only thing I could think of. My answer is respect. Respect women. I love women with a passion. To have respect for them is a must. Oh my God, this is rather long.
It is.
John. Okay, we've got a whole page to go. I'm going to try not to rush through this, but be swift with it. If you're not man enough to show it, then your heart should rust, and your words be blown in the dust. Hearing the way some men talk and treat their women in such disgrace lies a bad name on a good man's face. I feel the woman's pain when a man breaks a vow, only to turn back around to point a finger, as if it's you to blame. I see they want not compassionate love, but a role to control what they call power and pride. That is your definition of a real man. That is what makes you feel strong. May God take your hand. Check yourself, for your heart is rotten wood. Your root is the poison to the world. Listen to these words carefully when I say this. It is a message that should not be missed, for it is the woman that conceived us at birth and gave us life, air to breathe, that alone puts me on my knees. Worthy. Ooh, that was deep, pithy, and profound. Now, worthy. Now, there's a word.
Well, when John Peluso told me he was going to send me a poem, I thought it was going to be something he had written. And I first read it through once, thinking it was something he had written. Then I saw it said it was by somebody else. Chad Cooper, I think he said. So that was the only answer we got along those lines. But yeah, I guess that was an appreciation of all women. And I guess when John was presented with the question, cherished or respected, he remembered that poem where all of it is fine, but when he gets to the bottom, he's saying women made everybody's life possible. Give them that.
Yeah.
Respect them all for that. Mm-hmm. So that was it. That, in other words, if you notice at the beginning, he said, my answer is respect. The poem was, here's why.
Okay. I really like that. Now we're going to go to Ken Reed. Respected. If a woman wishes to be cherished, she can be, but her wishes, either way, should first and foremost be respected. Aretha Franklin respects. Kool and the Gang cherishes. Which would you rather be?
So, his point is, Kool and the Gang, cherish the love we have.
Right.
Aretha, which we already heard.
Yeah.
His little joke is that he picks respect and he backs it up with the fact that that's a better song.
Yeah. Well,
Although Aretha is not respecting, she's asking for respect.
yeah, she is asking for it.
Which is a whole other thing.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think since that song initially came out, we were in a very different time. Women were in a very different time, which is why those kind of songs were being written. I think that women have come a long way since that song. Okay, we're going to go to Kevin Rankin. Can they not have equal importance? I feel that women are often disrespected in the US media, less so in other areas. Europe, Canada, and other Western cultures outside of the States seem to respect women more than we do, which makes me feel responsible. I do cherish women and would hope that others do too, but the visibility of the lack of respect in our society is much more apparent.
So he's making it a societal thing.
But what do you think, Kevin? What do you really think?
I don't think he should take that on and feel guilty about it. He says, I feel guilty about the way women are treated in the media. Give yourself a break, brother. You're a good guy. I know you. You're a good guy.
Yeah. We know you're good to your
Start with the man in the mirror, Kevin.
Start with the man in the mirror.
Ask him if he'll change his ways.
Kevin is the drummer for the band Animotion.
Cool. Do you like their music?
I missed that sort of era, but
Do you respect their music?
I cherish it.
We were talking about...
Go ahead, Tom.
never mind.
Come on in, all up in it.
We were just talking about...
This is why
Good night, everybody.
This is why Olivia episodes are the best episodes.
All right, we're going to go on.
Yes, we are.
All right, we're going to go to Chris Hunt Stanton. And now, what do you have to say for yourself, Chris? You say that it's more important to be respected for your work in life. And?
We need a follow-up to that, Chris.
Okay,
Respected.
it's
Yeah, I
more
get his
important
point.
to be respected for your work in life.
Than to be cherished just for being you, I guess he's saying.
Yeah. So,
It's accomplishment-based.
okay, fair enough. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just glad everybody's participating.
Chris is one of our newer listeners, and he's a Twitter dude, so
Awesome.
welcome to the show, Chris.
All right, well, we're going to move on now to Larry Ghani, okay? Kind of like Gandhi, but no D. Okay.
Larry G.
Larry G, Larry G. Olivia's question is a tough one. I've been married for 11 years, and I can honestly say I both respect and cherish my wife. I don't think you can be married to someone you don't cherish, but then again, can a marriage last or at least be considered healthy without respect? It's a very interesting question, and I know you didn't specify marriage, but I'm speaking through my own experience. If I had to choose, I'd say respect is more important. Long-lasting relationships are built on things like respect and trust, and as an outsider, I've seen relationships without respect, and it's disastrous.
You got a point there. And also, he's a guy who's been married a while. A single person versus a person in a new relationship versus a person who's been married for 50 years. They all have different takes on things too.
I think it also has a lot to do, and I think this woman, Pat McNally, who sort of administered this question to sort of her followers, was really wanting to put it out there in terms of where women were at right now in 2016. It's like, where as a woman are you coming from? Because they're two completely different things. And I think in the 60s, when that song Respect came out, women weren't at a place where they are now, where there was the feminist movement and women were like, I want to be taken as seriously as a man. I want to, I want to wear the pants in the family. I want to exist on a multi-leveled playing field, where I think women do much more so. So I think they may be getting a little sick and tired. Maybe they're wanting to return more to the goddess energy to receive. And being cherished requires you to sit back and be more in your goddess energy and receive. So that's just something I'm throwing out there based on the questions, and I'm allowing things to percolate.
I think that's what Chris Jackson was driving at, about trying to do some kind of new hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
The modern age and what we liked about the 50s and stuff. Find some way to combine it. And, the male version of that is the sensitive male who cries. Like, for a while, women were supposed to want a guy like that who wasn't, like, a hard man. And now all of a sudden, we got all these whiny, cry guys now. And they want the macho guy again. So,
look, things have really been flipped on its axle in terms of the yin and yang. And I would, if I were a man, I would be very confused right now. I would think that, where are women coming from? And I don't get her. And she's, the whole dating thing, and women just want this and this, and if you don't got that, well, enough of you. And like, men are indispensable or disposable. And they're not. I mean, neither. You know what I'm saying? It's about, I'm a woman and I'm saying this, but I do feel that I see where men are coming from, and I'm loving how much you guys as men are invested in saying, you know what, I've really thought about this. And you guys are really being fair too. You're really coming from a sensitive yet strong place as a man. So this is a lot of fun for me too. I'm putting my ass on the line because you guys think that I've come up with this question, and I had so little time, and I just literally threw the first thing that was in my conscious, because I just heard about this as things started becoming more clear. It's a little bit of a volcano that's erupted, that has caused. I mean, obviously people have very specific. It's a passionate subject.
Jump on your surfboard and ride that lava.
Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Let's. Beyonce went around on surfboard, waxing down that surfboard. Okay, let's go on to Leo Sardan. I don't know. Do you know? Well, you know what, Leo? No. As a matter of fact, I don't.
Leo Sidran, right after you gave that thing
we're throwing it against the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Right after you compliment everybody for trying so hard, you get to Leo, who didn't try at all. I don't know. Do you know? Thanks, Leo. You're a big help.
Leo, you and me, we got to talk. All right. We're going on to Mark Bonilla. Okay. You should just pronounce these names.
Do you want me to announce the people for you?
Would you?
I actually know them personally. Well, it's not that I'm better at it. I already know them personally.
Okay.
I want to backtrack though and say Leo Sidran is a happily married guy. He's in a happy marriage. He has a kid. He should know these things.
Yeah. So
I don't know why he's sidestepping it.
You're getting on his ass for that. Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to Mark Bonilla.
All right, Mark. Here's what you have to say. A woman should be respectfully cherished. Oh, you clever bugger.
Yes, he said they should be He's the guy who said that if he could live anywhere, he'd live next door. He said he bought the Beach Boys album for the cool album cover, and he said, I have the feeling he spent about 45 seconds answering all three of these questions. So he said a woman should be respectfully cherished. That's interesting. Just like Dave Norris came up with this cherishability, he comes in, yeah, he's doing some wordplay, but in a way, he's talking about a type of cherish, respectfully.
I was going to say, you can't really do that the other way. You can't cherishably respect. Or can you?
Maybe charitably, but not cherishably. And next is Mark Herrick.
All right, Mark. What you have to say is what seemed like a simple question, Olivia, turned out to be a complex, time-consuming thought exercise that I was not ready for. At first, I thought simple. But,
Nice sound effects.
It depends on the woman. Oh, yes, it does. Everyone is different, so there will be different answers depending on who you ask. The answer is both, not one or the other. Then I gave it some more thought, and maybe the answer is most women would rather be respected by people that they don't know or hardly know, and cherished by those they do know and or love. That was going to be my answer until I decided to look up the words respected and cherished in the dictionary. Ooh, snap.
Go into the academic defense.
So did you have a come to Jesus moment when you looked that up in the dictionary, Mark? Maybe your question is implying that cherished means more of a protection thing and respected is more of an admiration thing. Oh, now that's very interesting, Olivia says. This led me to a historical timeline kind of thought. Years ago, most women probably longed to be cherished and protected. Today, perhaps women would rather be admired and respected more than protected. Final answer? I don't know, and I think it still depends on the woman. I'm not sure what kind of answer you were looking for, but the above ideas are the only thoughts I could come up with in the last 2 days I spent on this question. Do I get an A for effort, Olivia? Oh yes, you do. I think that pretty much sums up everything that I've been trying to...
Well, respected by people you don't know, cherished by people you do know. That's an interesting twist.
Well, that's an interesting twist, but also I was just making a point, I think, in the prior answer that, if we were to kind of integrate a little bit of 1956 and 2016, and I was also saying that, we've come so far as women since the feminine movement and Gloria Steinem and what have you, and now we have potentially a woman becoming president, or even just the fact that she's been considered, whether she is or not is yet to be determined, but we're in a different time, and so that is going to switch. That's why this question, respect or cherished, I think it strikes up and conjures up lots of emotions in both men and women. Again, we haven't even gotten to the women's questions, but really, really good answer, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time. You get an A for effort and an A+ for passion about this subject matter.
Leo Sidran, D-.
Leo. Oh, Leo.
Okay,
it's okay to be ambivalent or...
Oh, I should also mention that I put these in alphabetical order by first name, so I didn't try and skew it towards all the respect answers or the cherish answers or whatever. That's why now we're in the M's.
Yeah, you did a great job. And
Michael
speaking
Hargis.
of M's, we are going to my Twitter friend Michael Hargis. And Michael, you are very to the point with one word, respected. So there you go. And now we're going to Michael Urbano. Respect comes first. If you respect a person, don't you cherish them as well?
He answered your question with a question. I think that's the only question mark I saw in all these answers. If you respect a person, don't you cherish them as well? And I wonder if some of the people who gave those answers, after hearing the other people, it just becomes a semantical thing about what people mean by that particular word.
No, absolutely. And also, I think what I'm also noticing that it brings up is, and rightfully so, because it's kind of got an ambiguous feel to it. It is a little vague, and so I think sometimes when you're going to give your opinion on something, if a question is vague, what would come up for me too is a little bit of a, hold on, I'm going to have to put my ass on the line here and give my honest opinion about something and be vocal about it. So you're going to get, I don't think the word is defensive, but there's a precaution that is aired by, well, wait a minute, before I answer that, isn't this already this, or isn't that already this?
Yeah, good point, yeah.
So it's just so interesting, just energetically, what is coming back from these answers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to go now to Mike Jacobs, and you say, Mike, I would say that it would be cherished, which would include respect, but respect would not necessarily include being cherished.
A few people have made that point. I think Jesse Solomon did too. It's people are sort of tuned into that.
Okay, let's go to Mitch Weissman. I think a woman hey Mitch, how you doing?
Hey Mitch.
So glad that you're tuning in, Mitch. Love that we're Facebook friends. Okay, I think a woman needs to be cherished always, but I believe respect is something everyone deserves. All women demand respect, and all of them most certainly deserve respect. We cherish our women, and rightly so, but I think a woman would love and demand our respect. as the top position, but will always point out that you don't love me the way you say you do. And there's that cherish thing again.
So he's clear and confused. He's like like a little bit of both. He sounds like he's making sense, and then he keeps changing his mind. But yeah, and Mitch is recently married, so congratulations, Mitch. And
I'm hoping that your marriage is going really well and that you respect and cherish your wife. I'm sure you do. Sounds
sure
to
he
me
does.
by your answer, Mitch, that you're figuring it out as you go along, as we all are.
I think Nate Morton, our next one, is kind of figuring it out as he's like talking his way through it too. So let's dig into Nate.
So Nate says, more important for a woman to be cherished or respected. Pondering. The question implies that the two are mutually exclusive. I'd like to think I both respected and cherished my wife and also fear her a considerable amount as well. LOL. So, cherished or respected? Here's my guy thoughts. Cherished implies ownership. I definitely do not own my wife. I love her deeply. I worship her at times. Admittedly, I do cherish our relationship as I do my own relationship to her. However, I don't not actually own her. Respected? Well, without going into detail, let's just say my wife's previous relationship before me was not with a spouse who sought out to empower her, instill her with confidence, and make her stronger. The opposite, in fact. So, I place an extremely high priority on empowering my girl, making her stronger, trying to make her feel like she could take over the world. So, I say respecting her opinion, her goals, and aspirations, and doing my best to help her believe and achieve them would necessarily require that I respect them. I therefore respect her, so that tilts the scale to respect. As I continue to over-answer the question, I would also add that I think one could potentially cherish something without actually respecting it, like in a or ain't she cute kind of way. However, I think it would be most difficult to respect something and not cherish it. The fact that I respect my lady makes me cherish her. I don't think the inverse is necessarily true. So, boom. Gonna go for respect on this one. Just gonna quickly give the flip side, my lady's perspective. Without a doubt, for all the reasons previously mentioned, I think I can state with the confidence that my baby doll would rather be respected than cherished. I'd bet on it. And now I'm done. Nate.
So that's the way to arrive at the same conclusion as everybody else, but much more verbosely.
I really love these long... they're all such great answers, but I'm really kind of giving... I just have to give credit to the guys that are really like going that much more.
And if my memory serves me, I think we're finished with the really longer ones. The rest
God
ones
for
are,
that.
For the dudes, anyway.
yeah, for the dudes, right?
We're not even halfway
I was
through.
gonna say about Nate is like he's one of the best drummers in the world. He's a friend of mine, a fan of yours, and he practically lives at Henson's studio. So
Really?
draw your own conclusions.
Amazing.
Next
amazing.
Olivia Dabo album.
Wow. Yeah, I love your little names for your lady.
I believe his wife is from Australia.
It's lovely. I love it. I can tell you love your wife. Okay, Paul Wells says depends on the woman, but of the ones that I've known, most would secretly prefer cherished, although they tell you that they'd rather be respected.
I think someone else said that too.
I think that's, but I think that's kind of accurate. I think that women, all of us do. We have kind of two sides to our psyche. We have the very sound, kind of stable side, and then we have the more fantasy side that is, it's sort of a toss up between what, it's almost like our conscious and our subconscious, and where that voice exists.
I think
on
Bob
that
Wilson
particular
said the
day.
same thing. He says, you say respected, but you secretly want cherished. And that makes me wonder about the lady you had quoted about what women really want. About, well, I better say this, even though I really want this, or like the woman on a date who just has a salad and picks at it when she really wants spare ribs. You know what I mean? It's like
Exactly.
the dude doesn't care, eat the spare ribs. He'll probably respect you more for not trying to pretend you're, being something you're not. But it's interesting that I find it doesn't seem to bother you, but I know a lot of women will be like, who's this guy telling me I'm saying this, but I really want that, and trying to read my mind and stuff. Meanwhile, a lot of guys are thinking, you got to read their mind or you never get nowhere.
Yeah, there are tricky power dynamic issues that could go really south really quick with that line of thinking. But I do understand that it's also a tricky river to navigate. So
It's certainly bringing out that's what I'm sort of feeling from these men who are so bold to be able to answer this question.
Nobody shied away from it.
No. I mean, nobody did. But I'm loving how articulate the answers are coming out.
Me too.
Nevertheless, though that it be a kind of a tricky way of wording it, it's like, well, hold on a minute. Here's what I know, and from my experience, and I don't know what kind of question you're asking, but I'm going to come forward and give my answer from my own personal opinion, or I'm just going to say I don't know.
They may never have considered it before. They may never have thought about it before. I don't know how much thought I really put into it.
I really don't know how much thought I put into
exactly.
it.
But my point is, one of the reasons they may be sort of like working through the question, like Nate and Mark Carrick, is like, oh. And they both of them kind of said, well, when I first think about it, but then again, and now and Mitch Weissman too. And as you're talking through it, you start to see what you've said or written and second guess, well, but maybe this and maybe that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's deceptively, the question's deceptive. Some people say either or it has to be both. But when you start to make an argument in either direction, interesting stuff comes out. Absolutely.
Exactly. Okay, let's go to Paul Wells, who says...
Oh, no, Robert Collier,
who says, cherished is the word. Yes, it is, Robert.
He's throwing back to the David Cassidy song.
Awesome. Well, we're glad we played it for you.
Well, okay. the association, technically. David Cassidy did a cover, but the song.
And there's quite a few different renditions of the cherished song, but that's great. So you're leaning toward cherished, Robert. Cherished is the word. Okay. Thank you for your answer. And we're going to go on to Robert Lang. I believe that this is directed towards women, so I won't answer except to say it should be cherish and respect, not cherish or respect. Okay.
In a relationship or a marriage, I'm sure that's true. And as I said, when you take the words outside of relationship, I think I think cherish kind of always is in a relationship. It's a romantic relationship or a parental or an object you love, where respect works in a relationship, and it works in the business community, and it works in the artistic community. So not that it's necessarily a broader word, but it has applications outside of a relationship. I just learned something as I spoke.
Boom. Okay, let's go to Robbie Bickford. Let me get this straight. You are asking a man how a woman thinks? Oh, Robbie, back on down. Okay, I believe she will say respected, but on the down low, she wants to be cherished. Ooh, I'm checking all of the above.
So first he says what the other two people said is they'll say respected, they want cherished, and then he's coming back around and say, I'm checking all the above, I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, right here in River City. Let's go on to Robbie Wrist. I like to think respected, but that may be different depending on the individual. But look, I'm 52 and single. Apparently, I can't effectively answer this question. That's not necessarily true, Robbie. In fact, you may very well be the person to just give us what you got, which you did. So we appreciate it.
Well, the self-deferential thing is his thing. He's like, look, I can't answer this question. I'm 52 and single. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, but I love the honesty is what I'm saying with all of these men are just coming through
I'm not in a successful relationship. Maybe I don't know the answer to that question.
They're allowing themselves to be transparent, even if it's coming to a place where they're saying, you know what, I'm just going to check them all off. Or, it's like, okay, I'm confused from the beginning as I'm answering this. Then I can sort of make some headway. I think it's one or the other. And then by the end, you know what, I just still don't know.
That's it.
I love that you guys are trying. Okay, last set of answers. Let's go to Paul Wells.
Ron Nelson. The Paul Wells page we've done.
Okay. We go to Ron Nelson. I say cherished. If you want respect, get a pet.
Okay. What kind of pet, Monkey Man? He's our gorilla guy.
Okay.
You get respect from a pet? Is that what pets do?
I don't know, unless they're a dog and you tell them to sit.
Well, he also said it with a smiley face or an LOL.
Right, yeah, he did. Thank you, Ron.
Peter Anthony Holder.
To me, it's too much of a generalization because each woman is different. I also can't answer because that's a question that can only be answered by a woman.
Well, it's true. Maybe one woman says, I want to be cherished, more respected. Maybe another woman says, I want to be respected more than cherished. And they're both right because they're two different people. So,
Okay, let's go to Shane Thomas. Respect is more important than cherish. A man may cherish the relationship he has with a woman, but not the woman herself. Women are deserving of respect in the same way men are deserving of respect. Everyone should be respectfully equal.
everyone should be respected equally, he says. So basically, he's saying male, female, relationship, respect, the most important thing, both directions. Vote for equality.
Yep.
Shane Farmer.
Shane Farmer says, my girl is always saying that she would rather be cherished and shown love. Fair enough. You know what? Everybody's got something different. It's all what's, intrinsically right for that person. And if there's men that are talking about their lady,
And interestingly, he knows.
they know.
He knows what his girl wants
Yes.
because they've talked about it or she said so.
Yeah.
Leo, I don't know. Do you know? And he's married. Dude, do you know?
Leo, do you know where you're going to? Do you know the things that life is showing you?
And do you know your way to San Jose?
Where are you going to? Do you
Do
know?
you know? No, I.
Do you care what you're searching for?
I feel the need to come to Leo's defense, and I think he was calling it out as a trick question, but in a really passive-aggressive way, which I kind of respect.
Yeah.
Well, let's think back.
But I don't
too.
cherish.
But when he answered my question, he said Barcelona. And then we got to this one. He's like, I don't know. Respect, cherish. I'm done with this questionnaire. I'm moving on. That's what happened. Leo's a solid dude. He has a great show. His podcast.
He's a salad dude?
He's a solid dude,
Oh,
not a
okay.
salad
I was
dude.
just going to say, okay.
You don't win friends with salad.
Oh,
you don't
what?
win friends with salad.
Kobe Marashi menu's got to have that salad dude on there
Yeah, yeah.
to go with the sugar-coated truth.
All kinds of world building happening this week.
Oh, yeah. All kinds, all kinds.
Creativity always comes out later in the session.
Okay, let's. We've got two last answers. Shell, who is Bootsy Bass, Beckwith. The toughest question of the bunch. I would have to use my own personal experiences here. I'd have to say respected. Somehow, just cherished comes off to me as cheap and tawdry. It almost seems like placing the woman as a lesser person than the man. With respect would come all the good things that being cherished implies. For me, respect is an earned commodity and is a two-way street. Cherished seems to be more of a one-way thing. With respect comes a true partnership between two like-minded individuals and is an indicator of an equal relationship.
One of your well-articulated, well-thought-out answers.
Yeah, really well thought out.
But he also says, to me, to me, cherishing comes off as cheap and tawdry. Doesn't mean everybody, but to me,
Yeah.
he's saying for him, cherished. And he makes his case pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think I like that answer. I think it's a good one.
And he's one of our super fans. Thank you,
Thank
Shell.
you so much for all of your wonderful write-ups about each show
Yes.
and being such an avid fan.
Yes.
Okay, our next one is Tony Peters. You say, I think coming from someone who has always been around strong women, whether it be my wife or my mother, I've watched them struggle for respect in the male-dominated workplace. Being cherished is certainly important, but I think respect is much harder to come by for some people.
And that's interesting. He relates it to his mother, his wife. He says watching them struggle for respect. So in his particular case, that's what comes to mind.
I think that we haven't really come across an answer like this yet, so
Yeah.
it's really nice to kind of throw in the pile.
We've got two more T's and a U.
Okay.
In fact, the two T's are both Travis's. We've got Travis Clark.
It is more important to a woman to be cherished or respected. As far as my wife goes, it depends on her mood, so I make sure it's clear to me I do both. And not to give too politician of an answer, but I don't believe you can cherish someone you don't respect. You can certainly respect someone you don't like. Trust me. But to show great love and affection for someone, you need to have a solid foundation, and respect is the key to that. Wow. That's a really good answer.
He's also in a successful relationship. In fact, he and his wife do a podcast together.
Oh, that's amazing. I really like that answer. Pretty
And-
much hits the nail on the head.
And like Ken Reed and Ed Wallach, Travis also contributed to he's a professional comedian who contributed to our alcohol episode about, the audience being drunk or whatever. So
Yeah.
he's a smart dude.
Yeah. Okay, Travis J. Coleman. says, I would say cherished. And then
Uwe Wright.
Uwe Wright says they should be respected and cherished as it makes life for men and women much easier. Well, yeah,
That sums it right up, doesn't it?
pretty much.
He's also in a long-term happy marriage, our friend in Germany. So we've broken down some statistics for everybody. That was the last male answer in 3 categories.
Yep.
Men who picked cherished, men who picked respected, and people who insisted that both had to be equal. So what did we come up with for cherished?
For cherished, we came up with 10,
Respected,
21,
so about double.
both equally important.
How many of those were there?
12.
So 12 people said it has to be both. 10 people said cherished. 21 people said respected. So respected is the dominant answer. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for all your amazing answers.
Leo Sidran, D-.
Leo.